All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, we are going to be talking all about dependent care accounts and how you can make the most of yours. Our goal is to help you feel more confident, informed, and empowered on how to use your account with ease and get the full value that it offers. This session is designed to be interactive, so I encourage you to stay engaged. I'll be using the Q&A chat to answer any questions that you have throughout the webinar, and then I'll be sure to answer all of those at the end. So feel free to submit your questions at any time throughout the presentation, and then I will keep track of those at the end. So today we are diving into dependent care accounts, also known as DCAs, and how they can work for you. So we're going to be breaking down the key benefits. We're going to walk through how to submit a claim and highlight common eligible expenses, especially those that pop up during the busy summer months. As summer approaches, many of you are thinking about childcare, maybe summer camps, or other seasonal needs. So we'll show you how exactly your DCA funds can help cover those costs and make the most of your account. You'll also learn how to easily access your funds, whether that's online, through our card, or by submitting a claim. We're going to do a guided tour of the website so you'll know exactly where to go to check your balance, view your plan details, and submit those claims with confidence. In addition, we'll cover important claim timelines, walk step by step through the submission process, and share helpful tips along the way. So by the end of this session, you'll feel confident navigating your DCA and using your funds effectively. And of course, we'll wrap up by sharing how you can reach us if you have any questions after the webinar today. So before we really dive into the nitty-gritty, we'll start with a quick refresher on the basics. So if you already have a dependent care account or DCA, some of this may sound familiar, but it's always helpful to revisit the key points so that you know you're making the most of your account. DCAs are available alongside both high deductible and PPO plans and can be used for eligible dependent care expenses. And we'll define exactly what eligible means here in just a bit. But when you enroll, you choose an annual election amount, and that's going to be locked in for the year unless you experience a qualifying life event like a marriage, divorce, or the birth of a child. Because of this, planning ahead is really important. DCAs follow a use it or lose it rule set by the IRS, meaning any unused funds at the end of the plan year are going to be forfeited. The good news is that with the high cost of childcare, most people are able to use their full election. Still, it's a good idea to estimate your upcoming expenses carefully so nothing goes to waste. And to stay compliant with IRS rules, all claims require proper documentation before they can be approved and processed. This just helps ensure that everything is handled correctly for you, your employer, and the plan overall. It's also important to remember that DCA funds become available as they are deducted from your paycheck. So unlike some other accounts, you'll have access to your funds gradually throughout the year, not all at once. So let's talk about what you can actually use your DCA for. Qualified expenses include things like pre-K, before and after school care, licensed daycare centers, and even in-home care like a nanny. Day camps and summer camps are also eligible, and we'll take a closer look at those in just a moment. But at a high level, if the care allows you or your spouse to work or actively look for work, it's considered eligible. DCAs typically cover expenses for children up to age 13 according to IRS guidelines. So if you have a child who's turning 13 this year, it's important to plan ahead to make sure that you're able to use your full election. There's also an exception for dependent adult daycare. So if that applies to you, we're always here to help answer any questions you have on that. But when it comes to contribution limits, you can set aside up to $3,750 if you're married and filing separately, or up to $7,500 if you're single or married filing jointly. And while these limits have not kept up with rising childcare costs, most people find that they use their funds fairly quickly. That's why planning ahead really is key with this account so that you can make the most of every dollar that you've elected. And if you've had a DCA for many years before 2026, you'll probably notice that that limit did increase. So it used to be $5,000 and it was just recently up to $7,500. So that is the additional benefit. So let's take a look at how your DCA can support you during the busy summer months, especially when it comes to camps and childcare. The good news is that many day camps and summer programs are eligible expenses. The key question to ask yourself is simple. Does this expense allow you to work or look for work? If the answer is yes, it's likely eligible. So, to qualify, expenses must meet two criteria. They allow you and your spouse, if applicable, to work or actively look for work, and they are for a qualified dependent, such as a child under age 13 or an eligible dependent adult. And when it comes to summer camps, here's an important distinction as well. Day camps are considered eligible, but if it's an overnight camp, those are not considered eligible. Even if it's a week long specialty camp like soccer, coding, art, or music, it can still qualify as long as it provides daytime care while you're working. So the activity itself actually doesn't matter. It's just the purpose of the care that makes it eligible. So, as you're planning for summer, just keep this in mind that if the camp helps cover your childcare needs during the workday, there's a good chance that your DCA can help cover that cost. And as mentioned, you need to provide supporting documentation for DCA claims, which must include five specific items that are required by the IRS. And those are going to be on your screen, but I'll just list them off briefly. The first one's going to be your child's name or your children's names. The second is going to be the dates of care. The third is going to be the amount of the claim. And then we will need the provider's name and address along with their tax identification number or social security number. If you use a larger daycare provider, they will likely provide a receipt or statement with all of this information. However, if you have a nanny or if you use a small in home daycare, you might not receive a receipt with all the necessary details. Same thing goes where if you pay your provider using Venmo or Cash App or something along those lines, you're most likely not going to get a detailed receipt, which is what the IRS requires. So, to simplify this process, we've created our own claim form. This form is a single page that includes spaces for all required information. So, you just fill it out, sign it, and you have your provider sign it as well. And then, once that is submitted to Omnify, no additional receipts or forms are needed. By signing, you and your provider confirm that all the information provided is accurate and we accept it as valid. So, even those who use larger daycare providers sometimes find this form more convenient than pulling statements. So, you can find it on our website without needing to log in. You just scroll down to the form section. Alternatively, we can email it to you upon request if you just reach out to Omnify directly. And accessing your DCA funds can be a bit nuanced. You can use the Omnify debit card that you received. If you haven't received one, please contact us to ensure it wasn't lost in the mail. If you have the card but haven't used it yet, just remember that you always can. It's not a requirement though. However, the DCA card won't work with services like Venmo, like I had mentioned, or ATMs. It requires a specific dependent daycare merchant code when swiped. Larger daycare providers typically have this code pre-set up, so the card should work just fine there. But for smaller providers, it might not work the same or it might get denied. So, in such cases, you can use online and mobile reimbursement. You just pay out of pocket and then you can go online to submit your receipt or that claim form for reimbursement. Our in house customer care team reviews claims and you can expect reimbursement typically within 2 to 4 business days, depending on the time of year and claim volume. If you use your card, you'll still need to upload documentation afterwards. So I always like to point that out. We do send monthly reminders via email to ensure that you provide that necessary documentation. If we don't hear from you within 30 days, we'll send you another reminder. You can also submit a paper form by downloading it from our website, filling it out, and mailing or faxing it to us. That's always an option. So while that is typically less common in our more digital era, this option is always available to you. And one important note, the card can only be swiped for the amount available in your account. So if you have $500 in your account, but you need to pay $1,000, the transaction is automatically going to be denied. So you'll need to ask your provider to swipe the card for the available amount within that account and then pay the remainder out of pocket. And one of the most common questions that we get is, what do I do if my daycare costs are more than what my DCA has? So we're going to walk through a couple of simple ways to handle it. Option one is going to be submit as you go. So let's say that you elect the full $7,500 for the year. That usually breaks down to about $625 per month, depending on your pay schedule, but maybe your childcare costs are closer to $1,200 per month. So, this is a simple way that you're able to handle that. If you pay for care in advance, you'll need to wait until after the care has actually taken place to submit your claim, as this is an IRS rule. So, for example, if you pay on January 1st for January care, you'll want to submit your claim in February once those dates of care have passed. And then once you submit that, you can request reimbursement for the $625 available in your account. Many people actually set up a simple monthly reminder so that they can get reimbursed consistently throughout the year. Your second option is going to be submitting once and letting it process over time. So, if you'd rather not submit claims every month, you can take a more set it and forget it approach. So, you would just pay your $1,200 as usual, and then after the dates of care have passed, you'll submit a claim for the full amount. So, this is kind of what happens next. You'll be reimbursed the available $625 right away. So your balance will go down to zero. And then the remaining balance will automatically sit on hold. So as new funds go into your account, you'll automatically get reimbursed until the full amount is paid out. This option means fewer claim submissions and less to keep track of. I see people do this pretty typical with their quarterly statements. So, for example, right now in May, but we'll see January, February, and March, they'll submit all that at once in one claim. They'll get whatever was in their account, and then it will continue to get reimbursed out to them. And then option three, which is not shown on the screen, but I always like to reference it, is just saving it for later. Some people do prefer to pay expenses out of pocket all year, and then at the end of the year, they submit one large claim. That way, they receive a lump sum reimbursement, which can be helpful for things like holiday expenses or vacation. So, if you prefer to do it that way, that is always an option as well. And as I mentioned earlier, you can use your debit card with your DCA, and it's often the easiest way to pay for care. As long as your provider's payment system is set up with the correct merchant code, your transaction should go through without any issues. There are just a couple of important things to keep in mind with that. And that's that your credit card will only, not credit card, it's a debit card. Your card will only approve transactions up to that available balance in your account, like I had mentioned. So you won't be able to overdraw or spend more than what's currently in there. And even though your provider gets paid right away, you will still need to submit documentation after the purchase. That documentation part is key because it allows us to verify that the expense is eligible under IRS guidelines and ensures that everything stays compliant. So just be mindful of that depending on if you are paying from your personal card or your DCA card. And this is a feature that I see a lot of people use, and it's our mobile app. Honestly, it's one of the easiest ways to manage your account. It's my personal go to because everything you need is right at your fingertips. So within the account, you can check your balance at any time, view recent transactions and expenses. You can submit documentation for card swipes and even request reimbursements for out of pocket expenses. In fact, you can do about 99% of what you normally do on your computer, just in a much more convenient on the go format. So, if you're interested in having that app, you can just search for Omnify Benefits in your App Store to get started. And if apps are not your thing, no problem at all. You can always access everything through the website. But if you do like using apps, this is definitely a tool worth taking advantage of. It is completely free to download, and your login is going to be the same as your login through the website portal as well. So, no need to have two different logins. And then our website is just omnifybenefits.com. And this is always going to be a great resource. And it has a ton of tools that are available to you without even logging in, which is really helpful. So if you simply visit the site and you scroll down on this page, you'll find helpful resources like that claim form, like I had mentioned, and other materials that anyone can access at any time. If you do want to log in, you just look for that white box on the screen and click that green login button. And then from there, if you're new, the site will walk you through step by step how to set up your username and password. But if you're already registered, you'll be taken straight into your account. And then once you're logged in, you're going to have full access to your account details and additional features, which I'm going to now touch on. So I'm just going to walk through what the online portal actually looks like and how to find the information that you need. So when you first log in, this is going to be the main dashboard that you'll see on your screen. To view the details of your dependent care account, you'll start by clicking the hamburger menu. That's those three lines in the top left corner. And then from there, you'll select My Accounts and then select Benefit Account Summary. If you have multiple accounts, like an HSA or FSA and a DCA, just make sure that you select DCA to see the correct account details. Once you're in, everything is laid out in a really straightforward way. So you'll be able to see your current balance, how much you've spent year to date, contributions coming from your paycheck, and what you'll still have remaining. You'll also find some important details in this section, including your plan start and end dates, the last day that you can incur expenses, and your deadline to submit claims. So no need to email HR. Everything is going to be in this place. But most plans include what's called a run out period. And this is going to give you extra time after the plan year ends to submit claims. So just giving you an example on that. If you paid for childcare on December 30th, you don't need to rush to submit it right away. You'll have additional time to get that claim in. If you're ever unsure about your deadlines, this is going to be the best place to check. You can always reach out to Omnify as well, and we're happy to walk you through that. And then let's just take a closer look at some more helpful details on this page. So right away, you'll be able to see how much you've already spent and how much you still have remaining in the account. So it's a great quick snapshot of where you stand. But as you scroll down, you'll notice this section labeled deadlines. This area includes a visual timeline, which is really, really helpful if you like seeing things laid out more graphically. But for this example, you'll be able to see where you currently are in the plan year, how much time has already passed, how much time you have left, your last day to incur expenses, and then your final deadline to submit claims. If you're ever unsure about the differences between those deadlines, just hover over the small green question mark icons, and that's actually going to give you quick, clear explanations right on the screen. You'll also find a helpful breakdown of your account details, including your payroll cycle and how much is being deducted from each paycheck. So overall, I know this is a ton of information, but this page is really useful hub for understanding your account at a glance and just staying on top of key dates. And when it comes to submitting a claim, you're going to have several options. We are going to walk through the online portal option, but you can use the online portal, the mobile app, or submitting by fax or mail. So with the online portal, you'll just navigate to the claim section. You'll click submit a claim, and then you're going to attach your receipt. So that's a pretty straightforward process. For the app, it's really similar to the online portal. You just click submit a claim, attach your receipt, and submit. With the fax or mail option, you just fill out that claim form with the required information and you can send it to us via fax or mail. All claim forms, like I said, are always going to be available on our website, just making it easy to access and complete. But now we're just going to look at that option one, which is submitting it through that online portal. First things first, when you log in, one of the most important things you can do right away is set up your direct deposit. And I recommend that everybody do this, whether you're going to be submitting claims soon or later, because all reimbursements are issued through direct deposit only. There's no check option. So if you submit a claim without having your direct deposit set up, the claim will automatically be denied simply because we don't have a way to send you the funds. The good news, however, is that it only takes about a minute to set up. So after you log in, you'll see a screen with 4 blue buttons. and then you'll click on that reimbursement method. From there, you just enter your bank account and routing number, you hit submit, and you're done. So, like I said, it's really, really easy, but it's going to make a really big difference. And getting this set up early just ensures that your reimbursements are processed smoothly without any delays. But when you're ready to submit a claim for reimbursement, you're just going to follow these steps. So, the first step is navigating to that claim section. So, in that top left hand corner of your personal dashboard, you're going to click that same blue menu button, and then you're going to select claims and then submit a claim. From there, you're going to fill out the claim form. So, this is going to ask for the service type. So, for a DCA, you would just select childcare. And then it's going to ask for the service start and end dates. This is where you're going to enter the dates of care. So, for example, you would put January 1st to January 31st if you're submitting for that month. If you're submitting for multiple months, you'll just ensure that that date range is accurate. For example, January 1st to March 31st. From there, you're also going to do that reimbursement method. So you'll just select that as direct deposit. And then you're going to put in the amount to be reimbursed. So you'll just enter the amount that you wish to be reimbursed. And then you'll put in your provider's information. And then if you want to add any comments, you can. This is completely optional, but you can add that. And then you will click that next button to proceed. From there, you're going to be prompted to upload that receipt. So you can either drag and drop that document or you can search your computer to find it. Accepted formats include JPEGs, photos, and PDFs. One common issue that we see is specifically if you take a photo of documentation with your iPhone, because submitting any live photos from your phone, which that's a certain setting in your camera, in the iPhone. If you do that and you submit it as a live photo, it's going to come through as a video, which cannot be opened because it's not going to follow the accepted formats. So just ensure that you're not submitting a live photo when you do that. Scans of receipts or forms work perfectly as well. But once you've uploaded that document, a submit button will appear, and then you'll click submit to complete that process. So when you do that, this page provides a summary of your submission, including the amount, direct deposit details, and dates of care. You'll also see a small preview of the document that you uploaded. So you'll just need to check a box confirming that all the information is correct and it's accurate, and then you'll click submit. So the process is pretty straightforward and it just involves those 3 steps. And if you ever encounter any issues, don't hesitate to call us for assistance. We are always happy to help with that. And if you ever use your card and then we need a receipt from you, you'll receive an email notification first. If you have text alerts set up, you'll also get a text as well, which I think is super helpful because I'm not I'm not always in my email as much as I am on my phone. So if that is something that you want to do, highly recommend setting up those text alerts. But when you log into your profile, you'll see a box on the right hand side labeled document submission required. This box will show you the amount, the need for a receipt, where the transaction occurred, and the date that your card was swiped. So you'll just click that blue add receipt button. This part's pretty user friendly. From there, you'll just be prompted to either drag and drop that document or upload it from your computer. This connects the document directly to that card swipe, allowing us to review it and ensure that everything is in good order as well. And then here's a breakdown of what your account will look like. Just as a friendly reminder, the menu will take you to that benefit account summary. That's also going to take you to recent transactions and claim submission sections. When you view your transactions, you'll see which ones need a receipt and which ones don't. So if you have multiple card transactions that are requiring receipts, the transaction section is a great way to see each card swipe and the corresponding receipt needed. This does make it easier to manage multiple transactions, especially if you have multiple accounts or different types of accounts, such as an HSA, a DCA, a lifestyle account, etc. So this section will just break them down for you, showing all of your options clearly. And really, that is all I have for you today. I hope you found this information helpful. I understand that childcare can be both expensive and stressful. So, our goal is just to make the process smoother for you and help you save money by using your DCA. So, on the screen, I've included our phone number, our email, and our website as well. So you can always reach out to our customer care team at that email, or excuse me, at that email or that phone number. Our customer care team is available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you want to give us a call, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, if you're more of an email person, you can always email us and we'll respond quickly. With that email specifically, we cannot take any account specific information via email just to protect the security of your account. So if it's something that we need to drill into or look at a very specific transaction, please call us so that you can get the best information and your questions are not going to get delayed. And then all of our resources and forms can be found on our website. That's just omnifybenefits.com. But now I'm just going to check on the Q&A here and see if I have any questions in the chat or in the Q&A. I'm not seeing any in the chat and I'm not seeing any in the Q&A section either. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to put that in the Q&A section and I'll be happy to answer that. If you don't have any questions right now and you got everything that you need, please feel free to take a photo or write this information down so you have it in a safe place, and reach out to us if you do have any questions. But other than that, I hope you have a great Wednesday and a great rest of your week. And I hope to see you in the next Maximizing Your Benefits. But thank you everyone for joining today. I'm still not seeing any questions in that Q&A box, so I will stick around for a couple more minutes just in case you're typing those questions. Okay, well, I'm still not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. But thank you everyone for attending today and have a great rest of your week.